Good morning, everybody. Sorry about that. I mixed up the recording settings. Good morning and welcome to Living Astrology with Janet Hickox. Grab your cup of coffee or your tea, sit back, and let's chat about what is happening up in the stars above. Today, December 3rd, there isn't much happening yet again. I like this, right? It makes me able to get going on my day faster, but it also means that we have an opportunity to go a little deeper into certain things that are happening. For example, today is also the dawning of the new Human Design Week. So we'll get to take a look a little bit deeper at what is happening from human design. We do have the moon in Cancer still, and of course, Cancer is in opposition to Capricorn, where we still have Pluto, Jupiter, Pallas, and Saturn hanging around for a while yet. So that puts an opposition into play today. As well, we have Mars over in Aries, so we have a square to Cancer and Capricorn occurring. And also then today, a trine from the moon in Cancer, a water sign, to the planet Neptune in Pisces, also a water sign. So we have emotional energy up in the air today. We have the energy of patience, or is it impatience today? And then we also have the oppositional energy from the moon and the emotional self versus the way that we are looking at the world, of course, in terms of the deconstruction that has been happening over the course of 2020. And what is the emotion that that triggers for all of us? And that can be different for everybody because you're all experiencing the world in a different way. But I can guarantee you that it's emotional in one way or another because that's what the energy on the planet is right now. And for some, that means the emotional energy is exhausting. If you have an open emotional center in your human design, you may be feeling really exhausted. Sadie's been really exhausted. I must have wakened her up. She's just popped up there. So we have a lot of this energy, maybe even feeling a little bit exhausted from the aftermath of here, especially in the US, the election, and even, around the world, all of our collective tension around that also rolls off of us and into other countries around the world, as well as the virus energy and all of this that we've been dealing with for a very long time. So it feels like we're fatigued. It feels like we're exhausted. It feels like we're emotionally drained. And I'm left some days wondering, OMG, what comes next? I mean, how do we recover from all of this stuff? And it can be overwhelming for someone like me who's sitting here trying to tell you every day what's happening and to also allow you to see it in a positive light while not underplaying the more drastic side of things that are happening as well. And as I've been really working toward getting 2021 off the ground, looking at my own business, looking at those aspects of change that are occurring, it just sort of amps up the stress energy as I look ahead, thinking I thought we were going to be done, and we are not going to be done. So it's a different energy for sure, and that part feels good that it's not the same old, but now the real work sort of sets in. Like, how do we rebuild? How do we remake? And how do we remodel our world in a new way that's sustainable, that is possibility oriented and not, set from the old world? And I've just realized I left my telephone in the other room. So Asa, if you're out there this morning and you're trying to get me messages, ain't gonna happen. Sorry, I can't even get up right now and go get that. I just heard it go ding in the other room. So I'm thinking, maybe you're trying to reach out to me. Let's see if I could say good morning to people right so far. It looks like Debbie Tibbetts Two-Meal is here. Mimi, good morning. And I don't see Asa out there yet, but that doesn't mean that wasn't her trying to get a hold of me. So let's take a look then at what is happening up in the stars so far today, or so far this week. We've had Mercury moving into Sagittarius, and that changed up the energy. And literally, that's the biggest news that we've had. Today, the moon in Cancer is going to square Mars in Aries and also trine Neptune, trine, a 120-degree angle, which is like an ease and flow of the energies. And then also the opposition from the moon in Cancer. I know what the problem is. From the moon in Cancer to the opposition of Pluto and Jupiter in Capricorn. People are having trouble finding me, likely because I'm on the wrong YouTube channel yet again. I forgot to check that. Well, I'm here now. That's all I can say. So today, then, what do we need to watch out for? Well, a couple of key things. One, with Mars in the mix, with the emotional moon in the emotional sign of Cancer, we have to watch for impatience. We have to watch for that in our speech, in our movement, and in our actions, so that we don't just inadvertently blurt something out. Remember, Mercury's in Sagittarius, the sign of blunt and honest communication, often sometimes without filters. That would make it an easier delivery in the off chance that you have something important to say to somebody. But watch movement as well, because when Mars comes into a square with an emotional moon, the moon comes into the square with Mars, what happens is sometimes we're so caught up in the emotion of the moment, we don't pay attention to where our feet are, or where our car is, or where we are in oriented in time and space. So we have to stay aware so that our impatience with the day, that's another energy for the day, doesn't cause us to make mistakes, or to fall, or to cut ourselves, or to get in accidents. So stay aware today, stay in your body as much as possible. And your actions, of course, are also maybe impatient today. So maybe trying to break up the monotony of the energy, or trying to do something and, you're frustrated and you just do it, and then it doesn't work out right. So we have to be very careful today that we are using the energy of Mars productively, and not in an impatient or rash manner. We can be very abrupt today emotionally, and also a little bit protectionistic in the decisions that we're making. And that's because Cancer itself is a sign of protection, security, stability. It wants everything to be safe and secure. And so we might be emotionally driven to make decisions that are too safe. But with Mars, there's also the possibility of we're too rash. So we have to really breathe, use your type, your strategy, and your authority in your human design to help you make good decisions if you are faced with making a big decision today. Because of the trine to Neptune, there is a real steady flow of intuitive energy today as well. So we might be able to tap into our instinct and really know where we are and what's right and what's not right. Intuition, remember, comes on, but it doesn't keep reminding you. It doesn't set a reminder that every 5 minutes it's going to say, remember, do this, remember, don't do that. It comes on once. And you have to trust that when you have that intuitive moment, that it is right and perfect and meant for you, and you get to move off in that direction. Today, because of that opposition of the moon to Pluto and Jupiter, we may be toggling between various types of emotions, from excitement to fear to optimism, sadness and depression. I mean, we may be going back and forth, right? That's because the moon in Cancer is moody. And then we have this opposition energy pulling us in two different directions. And that can cause us to sort of teeter-totter between the emotions that are out there for us to experience. Now, the other question is, for those of you who have the open emotional center, whose feelings are you feeling? Right? Is this your partners, your family, your community, the world around you? Are you pulling in all of the anxiety and the tension of the world, or are you reacting to those energies instead of recognizing, whoa, something's not right here, this isn't mine? Letting it flow through you instead of latching onto it or absorbing it like a sponge. All right, let's see. Did people find us? Are they back to us? No. Good morning, Valerie Jocelyn, I'm sorry, and Ursula. Good to see you. I think I blew it this morning. I don't remember setting it to my YouTube channel. So I'm probably broadcasting on my old YouTube channel. And that is probably confusing to people out there. So I apologize to you all who will find this recording later, I'm sure, and we'll just have to deal with it today. So as we take a look then at the energy of the human design week, which shifts today, we find the sun moving into the gate 5 and the earth moving into the gate 35. I'm going to share my screen here so everybody can see where that is. Hold on one moment. I can't share it if I don't have it open. And that way you can see, it's actually interesting what you're going to see because the week itself is showing us a reflector chart. And just 1 minute here, let me get to my desktop and pictures. There we go. And just now, maybe it is in downloads. No. Desktop? No. Okay. So I'm all kinds of messed up this morning. Just a minute here. It's not on my desktop. Maybe I did put it in pictures. And yikes. Okay, well, we'll forget that graphic because I have no idea where I put it this morning. So instead, let me share the other graphic that I make for the week with the gene keys and the human design. So we are in week 1 of December, and that started today through the 8th. And this is where we have this energy of patience showing up. Isn't that interesting, with Mars also with the moon today, triggering impatience or patience. Today, we start a week where we may find ourselves having to deal with energies of impatience and patience. With the sun at gate 50, at gate 5, we're looking for consistency. And the gate 5, if you can kind of see it in here, is right down on the sacral center. I'm circling it right here, and it's moving up toward the identity center. And that is sacral energy being focused toward the work of the soul. And it takes a connection to the natural flow of time and cycles for us to be in that sort of rhythm of being available to do the work, and also to be available to receive what it is that we need to receive in order to do our work. So we have this need with the sun this week to be in connection to the natural flow and rhythms of nature in order to live out our life purpose. In other words, this is telling us that it is not okay for us to push the river or to push ourselves or to try to make things happen. In the gene keys, we're looking at the energy in the highest expression of timelessness, and the gift is patience, and of course the shadow, impatience. So if we're looking at the siddhi of timelessness, how do we achieve that, right? Well, we do that through consistent connection to natural rhythms, to our choices that are in front of us, and that in every moment we are making a choice, and maybe we're presented with 2 different things or opportunities, and then we have to go with our strategy or our authority to help us make that decision, i.e., for example, if you're a generator, you're responding to something that shows up in your outer world. If you're a projector type, you are waiting for an invitation. If you're a manifester, you're initiating, but not necessarily following through. And if you're a reflector, you are waiting for big decisions, for a full cycle of the moon before you actually can make those good decisions. So during this day, during this week, we may be impatient because we want things to get going, we want things to happen, but recognizing that we have to be true to ourselves, and being true to ourselves, at least with this gate this week, means that we're in the right timing and that we're using our power and our energy and our will correctly, right? That means we're not pushing, trying to make things happen. We're doing it in the rhythm and the flow of the universe. That's timelessness, right? Where we're not concerned about it has to be done by 5 o'clock today. It's that we are in the natural flow, and we just trust that all things will happen in the correct and right timing. The gift in this, patience, is about having patience to engage in that natural flow of energy, to recognize when it is that you are outside of that natural flow. And you'll know that because you'll feel stress, you'll feel tension, you'll feel anxiety or anxious about trying to get something done. So staying in the flow connects us to the natural world. It connects us to consistency. And then, of course, the shadow is where we are struggling to stay connected and be stable and sustainable by making things happen, which takes us again out of that natural flow of the universe. All right, so checking back over here, did I actually share my screen? I did, okay. Mimi says, a lot of us feel either messed up or, in my case, in a fairly quiet mode. Yes, I am keeping up with the world, but in more of an observation mode or observer mode. The cities, feeling them and grateful. Exactly, right? Those are the things that help us stay sane in the craziness of what's going on in the world. Or it's not even that it's crazy now, right? I feel like some of the worst of what we've experienced in 2020 is behind us, at least a lot of it. Let's not all of it for certain, but a lot of the crazy has passed. But we're left with the disaster behind us of everything that's happened. So in that respect, you know, we're feeling already fatigued because we've been dealing with these things, and now there isn't much energy left for us to go into the rebuilding process. So this opportune time, I suppose, is for us maybe to rest, right? That maybe this consistency of being in the natural flow, maybe the natural flow right now is just to rest, right? To rest and not push. Now, the Earth is at gate 35 this week, and the gate 35 sits up here on the throat center. You can just barely see the number 35 here above the word gene, and it moves down toward the emotional center, but it's on the throat center. So it's an energy of communication and manifestation. And that energy at the gate 35 is called experience. It's an experiential gate. It is in the highest expression, a gate of boundlessness, where we have no constraints, where we have energy that can just take us wherever we need to go. We have adventure in the gift. And then the shadow energy is hunger. And we're going to look at what kind of things that might lead us to. The Siddhi here, the highest expression, boundlessness, is when we know what experiences are worthwhile for us. Not all experiences are worthwhile for us, right? Sometimes it's good for you to have an experience, and other times you should avoid that particular experience. But life here on this planet is very experiential. The Earth here in this gate will remind us that it isn't so much the what has happened. It's the experience and what you take away from the experience that matters. And in the Siddhi, then we share of our experiences, of our knowledge, of what we've learned with others around us. And in this particular gate, because it's on the throat, there's a story, right? The story is of the experience of what's possible. And partly that happens from what has happened or what is, and then turning it around and saying, let's see what else is possible. So the Siddhi is really taking us beyond limits, right? Beyond the limits of the mind, for us to experience all things in the world. Now, the gift energy is adventure, and here's where we have to have courage, the courage to share the adventure, to share our experiences with others, even the ones that aren't so good, right? I did this. Sometimes I call this gate the been there, done that gate, because it has so many experiences that it can often get a little bit jaded in terms of, I've been there, I've done that, not doing it again. And so they might miss key experiences that they didn't have in the first experience of whatever is happening in their lives. So we don't want to squelch the continued learning and experiencing in this gate. We want to always have an open mind, an open heart, and an adventurous spirit, because you never know what little nugget of wisdom you might gain from having had another experience. So the gift here is being able to be the adventurer a bit, right? To have that courage to go out there and experience, and then bring back the wisdom of that experience. And in the shadow, we have two things happening, one of two things. In the gene keys, it's called hunger. hunger to experience, right? Pushing you to take risks or engage in behaviors that are not correct for you, or in the experiences that are not correct for you, or are out of the right timing. So in the hunger to push outward and to become adventurous and boundless, again, we have a bit of this pushing energy in the shadow, this hunger that drives us on to do things. On the alternative side, this is boredom. Bored with life, you settle for the status quo, you become sort of jaded. I've been there, done that. There's nothing new there for me, and I stay in my pity potty. So staying out of that shadow energy means open heart, open mind, openly going and willing to go where no woman has gone before, perhaps, but only if it's correct for you, right? So again, we have this, you're taking responsibility for the adventuresomeness in your life or not. Cool, right? So that's the Earth and the Sun this week. But we also have something else going on with the planet Jupiter. Jupiter and Saturn and Pluto have all played around at the gate 61, which is up in the head center, the middle gate heading down toward the Ajna. And over time, Saturn now has moved off to the gate 60, out of the 61 and into the 60. And today, or yesterday actually, Jupiter moved out of the gate 61 here and down to the gate 60, which is lower into the on the root center. So I'm going to show you another graphic here where we can talk about what does this mean. So here's the gate 60. It's on the root center. It would lead up to the sacral center at gate 3. And this is called the gate of conservation or conservatism. And it has nothing to do with the movement of the political world of conservatism. It has everything to do with being resourceful, with being a good steward, to being, very much aware of what we need in order to go forward and being a good steward of those kinds of resources, right? Resourceful. So we had this energy going on in 2019 where I introduced the words conservatism and good stewardship and resourceful, because at that time, Saturn and Pluto were both sitting at the gate 60. And then, of course, they moved forward, then they retrograded, etc. And now that Jupiter and Saturn have both moved past their retrograde phase and they're moving forward pretty much at a good clip at this point, they have moved again into this gate 60, where we kind of got a taste of that in late 2019. And now we're going to be living out this energy from Jupiter and Saturn for a while now. And what is this energy? Well, this is about finding the blessings in transformation. So we know that we're in the midst of a huge transformation. We're transforming on kind of every level that you can imagine. And that is stressful, right? It is stressful. So here for us at this moment, it's important for us to find those blessings in the transformation that is afoot. What are the possibilities, and those are the words I'm taking us to into 2021, of what this transformation might bring us. How might it impact our world in positive ways, right? Not going into the more negative ways, because it's always a choice in how we're going to look at this, right? We are the ones driving the experience. So do we want to be in the positive flow, or do we want to get ourselves mired in the muck at the other end? So we have to let go of the need to fight for the old. And that puts us in a position of resisting change, that this particular gate is a mutative gate. This whole channel is called the channel of mutation, or transformation, or evolution, or change. So we see the stimulation here of this change for evolution, the evolution of consciousness. And that means that the fight that we are experiencing, the division primarily, is about resistance, right? People resisting the movement to move into a new world, into a new way of being. So we have to let go of the need to fight and resist change, and to be able to allow the evolution of consciousness to do what it does best. And it does this in right timing. This is not something we can push. It's kind of out of our hands, right? This channel often puts us out of time. meaning humans time. We can't really put it on the calendar and say, okay, at 8:24 a.m. on December 29th, the whole world is going to change. It doesn't work that way. It works over the course of time and in divine right timing. So we're connected to divine timing, not human timing. And this is also then a call for us to focus on what is working in the world, what is working in our personal lives, not what isn't working, excuse me. And then to take the right action or the appropriate steps based on what is showing up in the world for you, to move in a new direction, to take those steps. And it's like the story that I told you guys once before about the river, the woman who wanted to cross the river, and she was talking to God, and she's saying there's no way across the river, right? It's flooded. And then God or cosmos or source says, look down, and there's a rock, and she can step out onto the rock. She has to have faith, first of all, that she can find that rock and that the next step will be shown in the right timing. And she again says to source, now what do I do? There's no rock. It's there's nothing for me to take another step. And source says, look down again. And there is the next step, right? So focus on what's working, not what isn't working, and take those next steps when they appear, and they will appear, right? This is a time for us to become more solutions oriented. I don't want to hear any more baloney about what's not working in the world. Right? I think we all know what isn't working in the world, but now what I want to hear are solutions. I want to hear about the ideas, the potential, the experiences of what could be. And then we are connecting with optimism, and then we are more in the faith that things will turn out good, that things are going in the right direction, even if we don't necessarily like that direction. Or we, don't like the disruption that's occurred because of that movement in that direction. We can have faith that it is being divinely guided and will be in the right place. We'll have everything we need. We'll have the next step apparent to us, and we will be able to take that conscious leap into the future, into a higher consciousness. Now, Jupiter will be here for quite the while, and after not quite the while, actually a few weeks, several weeks, and then moves into the next gate on the root center, the gate 41. And literally when we get to the human design new year, which is right around January 22nd, we have Jupiter now at the gate 41, the gate of imagination and creativity. What more is possible, right? What can we do when we take our ideas and our imagination and we put them to work in practical, organized ways? What can we create? So we have some very optimistic energies coming up, even though there are some other strange energies going on as we move into 2021. So there just gives you a little bit of a heads up of what's happening. Okay, so let me go back over here. Questions, anybody feeling? Good morning, J-Lo, you found us. Ursula, my unconscious Earth is 26, and I think the programming partner is Gene Key 5, should open the channel. Well, the 26 programming partner is actually over here. So let me see, can I show you a picture of that? 26 meets up on the other side at the spleen at gate 44. So what we have here then is that whole channel of integrity, right? We have the north node sitting at the gate 44, and we have the south node sitting at the gate 26. Did I just do that correctly? I have an idea. Hold on. I think I know how I can get us that just now chart that I wanted, that I couldn't find wherever I saved it on my computer. And let's just bring it up on Jovian. We won't be able to see the whole thing in the right way because of the nature of the chart, unless I make this smaller. Can I make it smaller? Ooh, yes. Okay, so now let me share my screen. Then we can take a look at this because I think you might understand it better here. So when we're looking at the gate 26, see how this looks like a chart of a reflector? And that means there are no defined centers. There are no channels being connected right now. The planets are sort of scattered throughout the human design. And I'm wondering too, for the longest time, we had planets sitting here at gate 24. That was the planet Uranus. and he was connected up to Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto that were at 61. So we had access to consistent thinking and to a consistent sort of inspiration and idea machine. And now that's broken, right? It's not like it's broken in a bad way. It's just, it's gone, right? Because Uranus moved on or moved backward into the gate 27. So that channel broke up. For the longest time, we had Venus and Mercury transiting through, and the sun, right, all coming through the spleen, and the connection from the 44 to the 26 was maintained, and that brought us this energy of integrity, right? We were really resonating with what's ethical and what's of integrity, what's right for each one of us. And then that's now broken as both Venus and Mercury have moved out of the spleen and are now in different places. Venus being right here on the identity center, and Mercury is now over here at the sacral center, right here at gate 34. So they've moved off into different directions. We have nothing sitting at gate 44. So now we have this hanging gate 26, where alternatively, we may feel we're being lied to, or that something is truthful. Because the gate 26 hanging here is a gate of the liar, of the gate of the trickster, and having to tease through what's true and what's not. We also have Mars, and we've had Mars for a very long time, sitting here at the gate 51 of shock. So we have had our share of shocking experiences of things personally and also nationally or globally that have happened that have shocked us. And that's not over yet either. That's not over until we get to the 14th with the new moon solar eclipse. And then Mars will finally move off that gate, and we'll have other energies that preoccupy us for a while. And so you can see here's the gate 35 with the sun hanging, and we have gate 60 with Jupiter and Saturn both here. See Jupiter, Saturn, both here. You can almost watch the countdown to where these two are going to come into conjunction. It's kind of fun to watch that. You can see it in the night sky with these two planets coming ever closer. You can see it in an astrology chart where you see these planets almost occupying the same degree of the sky. And now you can see it in your human design as well, with them coming into that conjunction very soon here, right? So the energies are changing and shifting, and right now we have nothing here that's really anchoring us anymore, right? That'll change. It changes every day with the moon. Today the moon's at the gate 53, and then it's also going to be probably at another couple other gates today. Let's see, where is the moon today? The moon, what is the date today? The 3rd. So we have the moon today at the gate 53 and then at the gate 62. So the moon isn't going to bring us any kind of definition either. So today maybe we feel a little bit like we're wandering in the desert. We don't really know what direction to go. Things are sort of uncertain. And in that, I think we get fatigued, we get exhausted, and then it brings our energy down. So maybe what we need really deeply right now is rest, right? To recharge our batteries. Okay. I hope that answered your question, Ursula, because I sort of went off on a tangent there. And I'm wondering, maybe let me look through my Gene Key book, because program partners sometimes does not necessarily mean the opposite gate. So the program, yeah, it does. Okay, so when he's talking about programming partners in the Gene Keys, he's talking about the gate that it connects to, the channel that is created. So the programming partner for gate 26 is gate 44, right? So this then completes this channel of integrity. But often in the energy of a week, it doesn't work that way, right? So when we're talking about the week this week, right, this isn't a channel that's completed. It's the sun at gate 60 down here, or I mean, sun at gate 5 right here, and the earth at gate 35 up here. So they're not programming partners. That's often confusing, even for me, and I know better, because I don't get why they don't always, meet up at the right, gate that is their opposite. But that would, yeah, that just doesn't work that way. Just doesn't work that way. Okay, so let me stop sharing and go back to see if there are other questions in, there we go, YouTube. Okay. Yeah. Oh, shoot. Just when we were getting closer to when the votes come in, I do not want to be around for that. The trickster does not sound good. Yes. So the trickster energy is, again, it's always a choice, right? We choose to be ethical and in integrity and to be moral, if you will, or we choose not to be, right? We can choose not to be. So it's always a choice. It's hanging there. And of course, a lot of that means that the people that you're around are going to be the drivers for whether you're expressing ethically or not. So making sure that you're around the best people, the most truthful people, the people that make you feel good about you, that you love and you trust is important. And, when you think about, I'm not defending anybody or anybody's actions out there, but when you think about politicians, they're often surrounded by people who want something from them, right? Or that have the money that are going to pay for something that the politician him or herself wants. But there's often, they're being surrounded by people that aren't always ethical or moral or in integrity, right? They have an agenda. So I feel for politicians, they have to have a very strong code of ethics and morality, because otherwise they can be easily swayed to do things from gut reactions and emotional tantrums and things like that, because they're not surrounded by the people of a high integrity. And I get it, right? I mean, we've all had that experience where we've been swayed off of our compass or our moral center by the people around us, especially when we were teenagers, right? And we know better than to drink ourselves silly on the beach in California, and you do it anyway and pass out, right? We've all lost that moral center at some point in our lives, again, based on the people that are all around you. So having, the right people with a hanging gate like the 26 is right now can be very, very important to keeping you moving in the right direction, I guess. All right. So let's see. I had one other thing to tell you guys about today, and that is the 9 planting energy of the Pleiadian-Earth calendar today. 9 planting, 9 is the number of harmonizing the disharmonious, right? So today our opportunity is to bring these different things, these disparate opinions and ideas and things together into a new harmony. And sometimes, it's just about stepping back and releasing your focus on what's out of harmony, right? Just to see it all, even if it is crazy disharmony, that there is an underlying harmony in what's happening. So today's a day to see the underlying harmony and what's going on, the underlying rightness of the way things are going. Creating harmony when you can within yourself first, and then that of course spills out from you. And then as well, planting energy is Kan in the Mayan calendar. It was the representation of the seed of a corn kernel kind of looking thing. That was the seed for what comes next, right? Today's a day for planting the seeds. But this is also an energy that can be very irresponsible. It can be very abrupt. It can be very immature. It can be impatient and rash. So that sort of reminds us that we have Mars in a square to the moon today, or the moon in a square to Mars, and that we might be impatiently taking action, doing things from a more irresponsible, not being in response is what irresponsible would mean, right? Not in response, but in reaction. And today, if we do that, we might not like the end results, right? We could probably set ourselves up for something that we don't want or we didn't really want. But there's also a sort of feeling with the day today that of being lucky, of being in the flow. So if you can resist becoming impatient when things don't seem to go in the direction that you want them to, then you can sort of let go and just be in the flow. The gate 5 where the sun is this week, right? The flow of the rhythm and the flow of the universe where things happen in divine right timing. Okay, So that is it for today. We've talked about the human design. We talked about the moon. We talked about 9 planting. I am crazily working behind the scenes. This is the part you don't understand. When I leave here early in the morning, I go right into the next project, which is the 2021 astrology workshop. And I really wanted to have all of that put together for you by December 1st so that you could start to purchase your tickets if you wanted to do that. Hopefully after this afternoon, I will have that together for you and we'll post that out. If you are in the membership, do not buy a ticket. Do not buy a ticket because it's part of the membership for you. So if you are someone who's not in the membership, it will be $25 to attend. If you cannot attend live, you never have to worry about that because I record them and you can pick that up anytime just by downloading the recording. So I will have that information out for you hopefully later today. I'm meeting with someone at 9 this morning who's supposedly going to help me finish this up. There's so much technology stuff behind the scenes, right? To get it on the website, to make sure everything's working together. It's a new world of technology. So anyway, so it's not that I'm abruptly leaving every morning. It's that I have a million things that I have to do, as well as my regular clients and so forth behind the scenes. So, all right. I hope you all take care. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow, Friday. Tomorrow's Friday. Oh my gosh, where's the week going? Holy cow. All right, guys, take care.